Welcome to this episode of Mindful Medicine. I'm your host, Tracie Jones, and I'm here with Dr. Jim Schrenker. Today, we want to talk about a subject called spiritual beings. So, to start out with, Dr. Schrenker, I am going to read another quote out of your book, so
Okay.
I hope that's okay.
Yes, please.
All right. We are not simply human. We are spiritual beings. Spiritual beings who have chosen to incarnate out of a realm of unconditional love into a soup of humanity that is filled with judgment, uncertainty, fear, and ignorance. We have forgotten unconditional love and tried to replace it with the very conditional love of humanity.
Yeah, I think that sums up the whole phrase, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. A lot of times we get caught up in trying to become more spiritual. Like we talk about here, mindfulness and meditation. We have yogis that practice this their entire life. Everything we have from a religious standpoint is trying to get us to be more spiritual, when in fact, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And I think what we forget sometimes is we're here to experience humanity. We're here to experience anger and shame and guilt, and we're here to experience love and peace and joy. The amazing thing about humans is we have that whole range of emotion. And in any given situation, you can have multiple different emotions. And I think that's really the crux of why we're here, is to learn unconditional love, and to learn it through everybody's perspective and every range of emotion that we can have.
So could you give us an example of someone trying to learn unconditional love?
Sure. We've mentioned it on a episode a couple back, that in order to learn something, you have to learn every aspect of it. You know, you have to be the victim, you have to be the advocate, you have to be the mom, the son, the daughter. Every aspect of that lesson you have to incarnate and experience. But to take it a little bit different route, or take it a little bit deeper, understand that in my belief system, we are gathered with creative energy before we come down here. And we're sitting there going, oh, I think I want to learn forgiveness. Well, Creator goes, are you sure? You can just go down there and have fun. You can go down there and do whatever you want and just enjoy yourself, and please don't harm anybody, but do whatever you want. No. I want to go down and learn forgiveness, and I want to learn it really good. So then you call your other energetic buddies that are up there, and you're like, look, I'm going to go down and learn forgiveness. You're going to do this to me, and it's going to be awful, and I'm going to have to learn my entire life how to forgive you. And you're going to be there when I need you, and you'll be there when I need you, and then if all heck breaks loose, then you're going to be there when I need you. You go, okay, you incarnate down, different times, different sexes, different roles in the family, different roles as in business or strangers. And as those lessons unfold, those people show up to help you back on your path, to help remind you of why you're here. But the one that taught the most important lesson may have done the most horrible thing to you. So understanding that you're all together on this team, and anything that happens, you have placed a way out in your way. You've placed a safe person in your path. You've placed somebody there to help you. And then you follow down that path, and other people will follow. So as you change your life, the people that are trying to keep you suppressed and keep you down will dissipate and have less influence, and other people that are there to help will show up. So that's one of the small aspects of it.
Okay. What do you feel are some other aspects that would be very important to someone listening to this video today?
I think the other aspect of the fact that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, that we put things in our own lives to get our attention. If we're heading down and our goal is in front of us, and all of a sudden we start to stray to the side, we're going to put things in our way to get us to go back to our highest path. And sometimes those things are a pink slip at the end of a Friday. You lost the job. Now you don't have your gainful employment. That is horrible. Was it put there to get you back to doing something you're more capable of doing? What about diabetes? What about cancers? What about heart disease? What about those things? Are those things placed in your path in this lifetime to get you to change what you're doing? Because the fundamental aspect of the way you're going is wrong. So that's the way that we approach it here. And that's the way that I think is the best way to approach anything from a disease standpoint, is to do the holistic approach.
Okay. So walk me through someone that comes into your office, and let's focus on diabetes as one of the examples.
All right. So you come in, you're type 2 diabetic. A1C is 7.3. You're on 2 oral medications, and your other doctor wanted to put you on insulin, and you didn't want to go on insulin, and you show up, which would be a fairly typical patient for us. So the first thing you understand is that diabetes is a solar plexus issue. Solar plexus is how you feel about yourself. And you can line up 100 diabetics. They'll be black, white, Asian, fat, skinny, tall, male, female, anything. But the underlying spiritual thread is that they are much more willing to do something for somebody else than they ever are for themselves. So with that solar plexus issue, they're trying to please everybody around them at the expense of themselves. You'll have somebody that doesn't have time to walk because they're delivering Meals on Wheels. What's more important? And to reiterate to them that taking care of self and putting self first is not selfish, because you have to take care of you before you can care for anybody else. One of the analogies that I would use is, if you have a lifeguard, you'd like them to know how to swim. Right. So how are you there to help somebody else if you can't do it for yourself? So, but then when we approach that, then most people that have type 2 diabetes will identify that in their own life, and it may be subversive. It may be that I work too much, or I'm an over the road truck driver and I can't do it. Well, you can. You choose not to. And not that it's easy, but nobody said it was easy, but it's their responsibility, their choices to take better care of themselves. So if you're reiterating to them that they are human, you have to get them to understand that they are at baseline a spiritual being, and they're capable of this healing. They've put people in their path to get them better. They've chosen to this point not to listen to them, or they wouldn't be here. So we just reiterate that. And again, you have to educate them on diet. You have to educate them on exercise. You have to educate them on their medications, the side effects that they are. Are they better off on their pills or off their pills? But certainly understanding the energetic basis and understanding the spirituality behind it is why we have better outcomes. We would send somebody to Reiki. Well, how does Reiki affect diabetes? Well, it doesn't, right? But it affects the human being. It affects their enlightenment of their own self. So you can take a type 2 diabetic and put them in Reiki. Then they deal with all the other stuff that's bothering them and all the other stuff, the energetic stuff that's out of balance, and then they can concentrate on themselves. So that would be one of the approaches that we would use.
Okay. If you just wanted to give someone a quick tip of starting tomorrow, here's one thing you can do to start learning unconditional love and going in the right direction, what would it be?
One of a million tips?
Yeah. Or maybe 3. What about your top 3?
Well, I think the most important thing is probably have a little grace with yourself. Understand that this is the first time through this incarnation. And you're doing the best you can. Doesn't mean you can't do better, but you're doing the best you can for right now. Love yourself, forgive yourself, but you also got to hold yourself responsible for doing the right thing. That means some people got to research on what the right thing is to do, but, loving each other, understanding each other, giving other people some grace, giving other people some tolerance. I think those are the easiest things to do because it changes you immediately. It immediately flips that from anger and resentment and guilt and judgment to love and acceptance and peace and joy. And that shift in that energy is going to shift everything in their life, everything in their life. Everybody is going to be different, which gets you to the point that nobody does anything to you. You allow it to be done to you, and you react to what they're doing. So changing your reaction, changing your perception of why they're there. Remember, they're the spiritual entity too. You're not special. You're one of 7 billion that are here right now. Pretty special to God, but your neighbor may not think you're so special. You got to love yourself, and you got to start there, and you got to start with just understanding that we're navigating this, and there's a higher purpose to why you're here, and that higher purpose isn't to get to the next rung on the ladder. The higher purpose is to dig deeper into yourself and see that spiritual being that you are, but embrace the humanity and embrace the love, the joy, the thrill, the anger, the resentment, the excitement. So I think that's one.
I do too.
So.
I do too, and that does make a lot of sense. Especially, I think throughout your day, you can be late for something, or you can have somebody be rude to you, and just taking a second and thinking, wait a minute, maybe I was spared from an accident, or wait a minute, maybe this person is going through a really hard day and I have no idea, and they just are so frustrated, and extending that grace like you were saying.
Right. I mean, we've all had those days that somebody cut you off, and we've had the days that we've reacted in anger. And where does that lead you? It leads you down, you arguing to somebody else in your mind, arguing to them, and then you get out and you snap at the one person that probably loves you more than anything else when you get out of the car, right?
Right.
Surround that car with the white light of God. I hope you get to where you are. I hope things are, and then you just don't go down that rabbit hole. It's not the person that drives in front of you that ruins your day. It's you.
Right. So, you get mad, and then the rest of your day is shot, right?
Right. So a little bit of grace goes a long way.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Schrenker. I appreciate this, and thank you for watching this episode of Mindful Medicine. And remember, you are loved.